right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, thanks, Josh, very much. And Ray, sometimes I overreact when I see those kind of cloudy skies, and I think it's worse than it may be. So that's just on me. You're the best in the business, and I would never doubt anything you say. We're here talking sports, however, not weather, unless you want to talk about weather. It's 412-575-2600, another edition of the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. I'm here in the Fan Cave. Andrew Fillipponi is up at 93.7 The Fan, where we now contemplate this series between the Penguins and the Flyers. Philadelphia has been terrific in two straight wins here in Pittsburgh, shutting them out 3-0. And the one thing that you see Philadelphia do, and they're very patient about this too, they wait for the Penguins to make mistakes, and the Penguins have been prone to make them, and they've certainly made a lot of them, especially to me on the power play. This is supposed to be the great equalizer with the Penguins. If you go on a power play, if you take penalties, the Penguins are going to make you pay. The number one thing to me is how this power play is completely just self-destructed. I thought it would be a big advantage for the Penguins.
Well, yeah, and it was one of the better in the NHL this year. Erik Karlsson had a total renaissance season, and he picked up a lot of points on that power play, directing things and being in charge of it, in control of it. He's been bad through 2 games, and you can't have that, okay? You've got a situation now where really your best players have not performed well. Evgeny Malkin had a couple points and a goal in Game 1. Sidney Crosby's a -2 with no points. Erik Karlsson is a giveaway machine again and a turnover machine on the back end. And the Letang pairing with Gerard is a disaster. So those things, if not all of them, a couple of them absolutely have to get fixed to get yourself back into the series. But I believe they can do it. I don't think this is over. I don't think that it's a done deal that Philadelphia is the better team. I don't think it's a guarantee that the series goes to Philadelphia and the Flyers continue to impose their will on the Penguins. I think there's a very good chance the Penguins still make this a series and come back in the series and make it competitive. I know it might seem crazy the way these first 2 games have gone, but I refuse to believe the Penguins are as bad as they've played the first 2 games. And conversely, I don't think the Flyers are as good as they've shown in the first 2 games of this series, Bob.
Well, they've been hot, though. Going down the stretch, they were the best team in the Eastern Conference, but they've continued that here, but the Penguins have certainly contributed to it. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think, if you win Game 3, that sounds like a lot, because you're going to go into a place that's going to be crazy. Those fans right now are thinking they want to get this thing over within 4. They have high expectations, but that can work against them, too, because if the Penguins win, all of a sudden the pressure goes on a team that has a lot of young players in prominent spots. So, it's interesting also to say that I think Stuart Skinner's been their best player, and here they're down 0-2 in the series.
Absolutely. I mean, they could have lost those 2 games even worse than they did. And really, even though the first game was a 1-goal game, it wasn't that close. The Penguins could have lost by 3 or 4 goals on Saturday night. So Philadelphia is going to be intense. Those fans are going to be wild. But that might take the Flyers out of their game. And they've played a very disciplined game and a very structured game. And maybe they allow for the nerves and the energy to force them into mistakes, because they have pounced on Penguins' mistakes, and that's where they've generated their offense. It'd be nice if the Penguins were able to capitalize on some gaffes by the Flyers, because I think the Flyers have tipped the ice. It's not like they've dominated play where it's all been in the Penguins' zone and the Penguins have no hope. It's Penguins' self-inflicted wounds and the Flyers taking advantage of those that have them up 2-0 in this series.
The Penguins and Dan Muse got back to moving the line combinations around to where they were mostly during this regular season. And I expect that to continue tomorrow night in Game 3 with Rust, Raquel, and Crosby, followed by Chinakhov, Malkin, and Novak, and so on. Would you make any other changes here? I was trying to figure out, we've talked about Brazeau being in the lineup. Would that help? And Soderblom would have to come out at that point. What about defense? Any changes that you think may happen there?
I'd like to get Gerard out of the lineup, and I'd like to get more muscle in there like St. Ivany for a trip to Philly. But I don't know how you make that work with your right-shot defenseman and your left-shot defenseman and feel like you've got pairings that you can live with, that you can play 3 pairs and not force the Wotherspoon-Karlsson pair to play basically 30 minutes and completely rely on them. I don't really want to do that either. So, Bob, sometimes sports are as simple as this. Your best players just got to be better. And I really don't think it's necessary. Like, am I happy they're going back to the lines they had in the third period of Game 2 because they were successful all year? Yes, I do. But also the boneheaded decisions, the taking penalties, the allowing for the Flyers' physicality to get in the Penguins' heads. These are not structural, tactical, strategic things. These are more like emotional intelligence things, psyche things, hockey IQ things. And those things, I think, got to be way more buttoned up in this game tomorrow night if the Penguins are going to win.
Agreed. We have our KDKA.com/Connect poll of the night brought to you by Penn West University. What position do you think the Steelers will draft in the first round? You have 4 choices there: wide receiver, offensive tackle, guard, defensive back. You do not see quarterback listed there. But we were going to talk about quarterbacks and whether or not they'll take one throughout the course of this entire draft, because I think they probably will. The question is, which one would it be if they decide to do so? A lot to talk about. We're going to hear from you at 412-575-2600. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, KDKA Plus and 93.7 The Fan, on a night where Acrisure Stadium is about to be overtaken by a lot of people starting tomorrow. We'll be right back. All right, well, welcome back. This is our Xfinity tweet of the night, and this one comes to us from Major League Baseball. Mason Miller, look at these stats here. 11 innings, 27 strikeouts, 8 saves, and a 0.00 ERA. That guy has been just dynamic to the point where I think he has to be in consideration for a Cy Young if this continues. I don't know when it's going to end, but it dates back to last season, Andrew. He has just been lights out, and those numbers are numbers you just do not see. Yeah. What about a closer winning a Cy Young?
Well, I don't think it's ever going to happen again. And the reason why I say that is because so much of this is now with the voters based on analytics. And closers, because of their innings compared to starters and their stats, they can't compile numbers like starters can. And so he could have the best, season by a closer ever, which, frankly, in terms of, one inning closers, not going back to when Teak would get 9 outs or something like that. In this era of closer baseball, this might be the best ever. But I just feel like the guys that go 6 innings every 5th day and pitch 175 innings, those are going to be the guys that now compete for the Cy Young Award every year. But he has been unbelievable, and it's crazy, his story. From Bethel Park to Waynesburg, struggled there because his diabetes were never diagnosed. Mm-hmm. And as soon as he got his health fixed, he became a more powerful, strong pitcher, and he's virtually unhittable. I mean, no one has a shot against this guy. It's really cool to see, and I'm really happy for him because he is a good kid.
It really is. It's an amazing story. And by the way, the Pirates were losers tonight 5-1, which means they're in last place in the National League Central
Unbelievable,
Division.
Bob.
Is that not incredible? I said to myself, everyone's winning. They have the best competitive division in baseball now because everyone's at least 13-9, Cincinnati 16-8. And here the Pirates have dropped to last place, which is hard to explain.
Well, look, this division put 3 teams in the playoffs last year, and I didn't think that was going to happen again this season. I honestly thought the Brewers and the Reds would both take steps back, and I thought the Cardinals were going to be terrible. The Cardinals, I didn't think, tried to win this offseason. They tore it down. They went with all young guys. The problem is those young guys are playing well, and maybe they'll end up being like the Pirates a couple years ago when they got off to that really good 30-game start, and then everything fell apart from there. But just the one year the Pirates go for it, Bob, of course, the division is better than it's ever been, right?
But it is early. To your point, they were 20-8 and everything changed. One other note, and that's your New York Mets have fallen completely apart.
Oh, my God.
12 losses in a row with that payroll. It's unbelievable. And, I mean, it's hard to explain how that kind of talent could lose 12 games in a row this early in the season.
Absolutely. Yeah, and Soto's been on the injured list, but who cares? One guy should not be that responsible for a team's struggles. You look at baseball. The Red Sox are in last place. The Houston Astros are in last place. The Royals are supposed to be good. They're 7-16. The Phillies, if not for the Mets being a total laughingstock, The Phillies are off to a brutal start. I mean, there's probably 5 or 6 teams right now that everybody thought would be good this year, Bob, that are absolutely atrocious. And then you've got teams like the Cardinals and Derek Shelton's Twins.
How about that? They beat the Mets
got a
tonight.
winning record.
That's right.
They did, and they've been a surprising team through the first 25 games of the season.
All right, let's go to our number one Cochrane Go One Better caller of the night. And tonight we begin with Evan in Moon Township, who joins us here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Go ahead, Evan.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks. What's up?
So, about the draft coming up, if the Steelers don't sign Aaron Rodgers, would they start Mason Rudolph or Will Howard or start a rookie guy?
Thank you, Evan. Well, first of all, again, this story is one that's still, to me, not totally complete. Everyone seems to assume that he's going to be back, Aaron Rodgers. But in the meantime, with an extra voluntary mini camp that new coaches can get, you're seeing Howard and Rudolph split today. Now, the question is, do they draft someone anyway in this draft? They do like some players. The Carson Becks, the Drew Allers, the Garrett Musk.
I was just going to say.
All those guys are available.
I'm going to make a very bold statement here. I think there's a chance that Carson Beck is the Steelers' Week 1 starting quarterback this season.
Week 1.
Yes, I think it's possible. I'm not saying like that's my like. If you're going to put a gun to my head, I still probably say Aaron Rodgers. But to me, there's a very real scenario that could happen, and here's what it is: Rodgers retires, and you talk to Art. Do you think it's 0% he plays football, or 100% he plays football this year, Bob?
No.
Guarantee?
No.
He plays? Okay. So there's a chance he doesn't play. If he doesn't play, and they take Beck, who started 1 million games in college at Georgia and Miami, and is regarded as one of these guys that's ready to play now, I could see a scenario in which they go with him if he's good in camp and if he's good in the preseason. So it's not Mike Tomlin who made Kenny Pickett wait behind 2 guys. We don't know that Mike McCarthy necessarily does the same thing. So all I'm saying is that because Aaron Rodgers continues to leave the Steelers in a lurch and in limbo, there does exist some wacky scenarios with their starting quarterback for this season, and to me, that would be one of them. That's on the board.
First of all, it's not wacky if he decides to retire. If they know that. Now, I don't know what the deal is, because now I get the definite opinion that it's not going to happen this week. So we're going to have to go into this draft not knowing necessarily, although you think they would know. But if they do draft a quarterback, just because it's the most important position, I get that. I would too. But if he doesn't come back, that player who would be drafted in a round that's higher than where Will Howard was drafted. And Mason Rudolph still has a play in this. But, you can also make the statement that if Rodgers doesn't come back, maybe it's Mason Rudolph, because they know him. He's been around a while. They can maybe do that. But they will certainly draft somebody at some point, I think, in this draft. But still, waiting on Rodgers is going to be a game we continue to play. Back to the lines we go. Jim in Green Tree. Go ahead, Jim.
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
What's up?
Hey, the Penguins, the goaltender for Philly's a lot better, and the Penguins can't score on a power play, so I can't see how they're going to win.
Well, you score on the power play and you get to the goalie. And again, I think it's important to understand Dan Villar's strengths and his weaknesses. The one thing a lot of goaltenders hate to do is go side to side, and they haven't really tested him that way. They're shooting a lot from different angles where he can be set in position to make a save. He's a big-bodied goaltender, and he will. You've got to do something, and if it's not that, then just get into his grill. I was watching a lot of the Sabres and the Bruins tonight, and the Canadians in Tampa, but that Boston series, at times, Andrew, they had like 15 guys in each penalty box. There were more people in the box than on the bench. It was that kind of game, and I think the Penguins need to get into that guy's head a little bit somehow, some way.
Well, he's been one of the worst goalies in the NHL when it comes to goals that are scored around the crease.
Yes.
Talking about plays
put the puck
that
at his
start
feet
below
and
the
let
goal
him try
line.
to find it.
Yeah, he's not good at that. His stats this year in the regular season were pretty good, but that is one weakness that he has that's pretty obvious if you just study the numbers on the guy. Mm-hmm. And yet, a lot of the Penguins' shots here, there's an old adage: there's no such thing as a bad shot. Well, I mean, if I've got to make a basketball analogy, if I got a three-point shooter that's just putting up air balls, I don't want him shooting the ball anymore. They had 70-plus shots, okay, in the first 2 games of the series that have either missed the net entirely or been blocked.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, those are not good shots. Because when they get blocked or missed completely, who knows where the puck goes, and then it takes off and it goes the other way, and that's how you get 2-on-1s and breakaways in situations like that. So
Correct.
they got to figure out to get the puck to the right places and get their shots from there, Bob.
There's no question. By the way, I was watching the Spurs tonight also, and Victor Wembanyama was concussed, and he left the game, ran off the court, and boy, that could be tough for them. They need him more than anyone else on that team. It's a good team, but he is the superstar on that team. Just wanted to throw that in. Anyway, we got to take a break, come back with more. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We're live on KDKA Plus most nights 93.7 The Fan, and we always want to hear from you 7 nights a week. Bob Pompeani and Drew Fillipponi back with you right here on the Sports Call. Let's go out to Mike in Blairsville. Mike, hello. How are you?
All right. Hey, thanks for taking my call, Bob. Do you remember Darius Kasparaitis whenever they used to play Philadelphia?
Sure.
He took Eric Lindros out that one time. I mean, they carried him off on a stretcher. That's the kind of play that they need to get a little rougher with these guys because they're Crosby and them. They don't take the hits like they used to. They're kind of a little bit soft nowadays.
No, it's not. I mean, listen, yeah, I don't want to take anybody's knee out. You don't want to do that. You don't even, the whole idea is just to get in their head, make it uncomfortable, especially on the defensemen when they're in behind their own net. That's where you put a pressure on. That's where you forecheck hard, you force mistakes, you force icings, a lot of that kind of stuff, Andrew.
Well, but I'll say this to that point. You know, if you let them be if they're knocking you around and the refs are calling the penalties, which they did in Game 2, you get 3 power plays in the first period. Score. Right. And that's going to change all of that, okay? This was thought to be a special team series where if the Penguins went on the power play, they would win. And they have not taken advantage of that whatsoever.
All right, real quick. Congrats to Austin Lemieux. He's advanced to the final qualifying for the U.S. Open. He's one step away from actually getting to the U.S. Open. One of 5 guys today at the club at Nevillewood. Griebel, D'Ambrosia, nice. Austin Lemieux, Jason Lee, and Rick Stimmel, who's 58 years old and qualified back in 2000, Andrew. How about that?
Wow. I'm surprised Chris Muller's name didn't get read off there. I know he went out and played this morning.
Yeah, he might be one day. He's getting good. I can see that. Pony, thanks. Appreciate it. That's going to do it for us. We'll see you again tomorrow night right here at 10:35. Join us for the Sports Call, and have a good night.